The Out There channel.
Please sub and share.
Searching for the truth. UFOs, aliens, greys and ufology. Real images, real stories, real videos, real cases, researched and investigated by professionals in the field and cutting-edge discoveries. Multiple witnesses, abduction accounts brought to you by Team The Out There channel. Good to be back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Action.
Yo, anybody out there? Doesn't look like it. Late night, or early evening New Zealand, early morning UK, and late night America. So let's see who shows up. Yo, anyone there? So I'm trying out my new setup. Let's see how it goes. Get used to it. Instead of the screen being right next to the laptop, it's now above. Have you seen my behind the scenes? So I can keep looking in one direction now, and I can see both screens easier. So what are we doing tonight? More exposing frauds. Secureteam today. Probably some third phase. I'll just post up on the side. Wait people to arrive. It takes about 15 minutes to get emails, I guess. Well, for people to scan the inboxes. Okay, is that coming up? Yep. So I'm not sure who will show up tonight. This is a test run for a early evening Saturday this time. Had the terrible cough come back. Don't know if it's flu, COVID or whatever. Or just the same thing that just goes dormant and comes back every time I take the immune pills. And it goes to town on the body. Okay, I need to post up a web link where you can find most things. I'm trying to get Plex to add the truth playlists as a tab there, so I can direct people there when they keep saying, "Oh, this guy's good." I said, "Nah, I've been debunking him. He's a fraud, just like all the rest of them." Yeah, it's getting a wee bit used to get new setup here. I can't move the cursor upwards to the thing, I've still got to go right. I don't think it will work very well with the magnifier if I tell my screen to be vertical. Plus it's not perfectly lined up, so it doesn't matter. So no one's still here. I can't trust Google stats. It's normally 3 out, isn't it? The magic 3. So yeah, I've had some more experiences on the ghost front, so I'll talk about that some stage tonight, hopefully. Some more weirdness. I still yet to go through movies and all my recordings there, see what's there. I don't expect to find much because of what happened recently. You know, the files get corrupted or disappear. So, yeah, seems to be like a common thing, doesn't it? Okay. So first up, Secureteam. Let's go over his recent BS and I'll break it down. Break it down. And I'll leave the ghost stuff to last if there's time for it. Let's just see if I've got the volume right. It's probably loud enough for Secureteams 1. What's it doing? It's taking a long time to load.
These images are going to remind the world that America can do big things. And they remind the American people, especially our children, that there's nothing beyond our capacity. Nothing beyond our capacity.
Today represents an exciting new chapter in the exploration of our universe.
Could you two just not talk anymore?
Yeah, those two are just brain dead. Yeah, please don't talk anymore.
UFO activity and just overall strangeness occurring in space.
There's no strangeness. But anyway, I'll pause it and break it down in certain places.
Because, as I'm sure many of you have seen, and if you haven't, we'll discuss it, in the last month or so, there has been a litany of strange occurrences from our moon to other planets in our solar system. So let's start off with this very mysterious image that was captured by the James Webb Space Telescope. The James Webb Space Telescope, for those of you who don't know, is the newest and baddest space telescope that we have successfully put into space. It completely trumps the Hubble telescope in terms of just how far out into space, how many millions of light years it can reach, and some of the amazing photographs were released recently by NASA just a few days ago, earlier in the week. And they released some just gorgeous photographs on a live stream showing beautiful nebulas and star systems and galaxies and you name it, and with extremely high resolution and undeniably beautiful detail. Without a doubt, the James Webb Space Telescope is a grand slam home run, and not only can this thing see far into space, but it can also detect the biosignatures of possible alien life on other Earth-like planets in interstellar space that are close enough to their stars to be habitable, and if they do indeed have alien
blah blah blah. So where do we got that blurb from?
life, the James Webb Telescope has the ability to detect.
Sounds almost like an advert, doesn't it? It's the baddest. Not even a English word. Dear, oh dear. Yeah. As we know, cameras get better every year, so we expect it to be better. More megapixels, millions and millions of pixels. In fact, he's not even telling us how many, any of the technical details, just like an advertising blurb. Okay, let's see. How many pixels does it actually use? That's a good question. JWST. What pixels sensor uses? Let's find out, because we know the latest latest technology goes up to 120 megapixels, so we don't get that on the phone yet. They'll slowly roll it out. So what do we got here? So JWST NIRISS instrument is equipped with a Hawaii 2RG detector, a single 2048 times 2048 pixels sensor array. Doesn't sound much, does it? 4x4 is only 4 million pixels. So what's special about that? How many megapixels here? 4 million. Yeah, there you go. 4 megapixels. There are two sensors, each of 4 megapixels. Not 16, not 20, not 120. So why so little? How many pixels does the Webb telescope have? So everybody's asking out there. Notably, NASA states that the collection of images flattened into one image consists of more than 150 million pixels. So how'd they do that? They sort of stitching it together, and reveals previously unknown details such as the sparkling clusters of 1 million or more stars. So how many stars in the universe? Anyone remember? 200 billion trillion, I think it is. Probably could ask Google. Okay, Google. How many stars in the known universe?
200 billion trillion stars. According to the conversation, there are approximately 200 billion trillion stars in the universe.
Not sure if you heard that, but I was correct. 200 billion trillion stars. How many... Okay, Google. How many stars have planets in the universe?
According to NASA Space Place, our planetary system is the only one officially called solar system, but astronomers have discovered more than 3,200 other stars with planets orbiting them in our galaxy.
So they found 3,000 other solar systems in our galaxy. How many planets in the whole universe? Doesn't follow on, does it? Okay, Google. How many planets in the universe?
According to Big Think, with 400 billion Milky Way stars, we estimate they contain 1 to 10 trillion orbiting planets total.
1 to 10 trillion orbiting planets. So, we're the only life in the universe? Nah. So what's 10 trillion over 200 billion trillion? As a percentage, it's pretty small, but still. So that's potential. How many planets have life on it though? Goldilocks zone. Okay, Google. How many planets in the universe have Goldilocks zone?
According to National Geographic, of the 1,780 confirmed planets beyond our solar system, as many as 16 are located in their star's habitable zone, where conditions are neither too hot nor too cold to support life. That's
not really what I asked. So, sounds like if it was like 3,000, did she say 1,600? 16, or over 3,000. So, extrapolate that out to the whole universe. 3,000 divided into trillion, so that makes it billion. 10 billion would be in the Goldilocks zone. That's a lot of life forms. That's possible. I think I got it right there. 10 billion out of a trillion. Oh, maybe not. Let's see. Could be 100 million. 100 million in the Goldilocks zone in the whole universe. Doesn't sound much, but still, that's if each of those planets did have life, that's 100 million different types of alien species out there. So, yeah. And in the Milky Way, there's a few. 16, they said, out of the 3,000 they've found so far. So they're more likely to be the ones travelling towards us from the centre of the Milky Way to our spiral arm. So where's everybody tonight? Oh, Google's going to sleep. Okay, so let's go back to Secureteam. So I've added some facts here, despite he's just like an advert. He hasn't actually given us anything. So how's 150 million pixels done? How's a 4 megapixel sensor make 150 million? How does it do that? Pixel image. Yeah, we know it's 120. Well, they're up to 189 now. Alright, here we go. Legacy survey space-time capture images of 3,200 megapixels. So that's the biggest we've got today. And yet, the telescope's only using 4 megapixels. How many pixels are in 4? Okay, it's not coming up. Probably haven't put JWS on JWST. So the web sends 100 megapixel images. Set images. Snaps 150 megapixel image. It doesn't though. How does it do it? 4 million into 150. How does it do it? Must gradually move. We need more understanding of how it's working. Despite that, once we understand the technology, we can then understand the artifacts, of course. So it's only a 4 megapixel. Collection of image flattened into one image. States that the collection of images flattened into one image consists of words. So it's talking about images here. So it's stitching it together then. So how does it do that then? 4 into 150. What's that work out? 4 million. So how many images? It's not really a snapshot, there's snapshots. Divided by 4. What's that work out? 37 images across. No. We've got to work it out horizontally and vertically. So why does it need 2 sensors? That's another question. So if it's 37 images, that can't be right. Oh yes, it could be. And then that would be divided into half to make it a square image. So 20 by 20 images stitched together makes 150 million. So that must be how they're doing it. So 20 by 20 images. So why does it need 2 sensors? Why make stereo images maybe so you can work out distances? Why does well, maybe it has redundancy. 2 sensors. I suppose that makes it last longer then. Okay, infrared detectors. Web needs extraordinary sensor detectors to record a feeble light. Sensors are on near infrared spectrograph, mid infrared instrument, fine guidance sensor, near infrared imager, and slitless spectrograph. So it's got various sensors. More powerful than Hubble. Well, it have to be, wouldn't it? 21. So how many years difference? Was launched in 32 years ago. That's given me a big jump in technology there, isn't it? Huge sweep of space. So, yeah, what technology did we have back in 1990? I think the best cameras were like 3 megapixels, but still, theirs is only 4 megapixels. Yeah, it's not that much better. Why did they choose 4 megapixels instead of higher? This seems a bit strange to me. Must be a reason. More hardened to radiation, maybe? Why didn't... James Webb Space Telescope not use 20 megapixels. Need a scientist to ask these questions, really, don't we? So, using Google. 4 megapixels seems rather low. Yeah, exactly. Why weren't... Okay, someone's asking the same question. James Webb sensor updated to the highest resolution. There's two types. Maybe there's two types of detectors: mercury, cadmium, abbreviation Hg, blah blah blah. For the 6.6 to 5 near infrared. I suppose that might be something to do with it then. And how's that work out? The answer could be as simple as it really was state of the art for space environment reliable sensors made of these materials. Whatever time the devices they were fixed, commissioned. So it was commissioned in 2016, was it? And it finally got launched in 2021. So what they reckon? Maybe to do with materials used. Could be as simple as near infrared, as in 2014 publication. That seems to be looking at updates. Remember that not all megapixels are created equally. The main imager has 40 MPIs, not 4. Resolution is limited by the optics. So who's correct? The main imager has 40 megapixels. 4 megapixels limited by the optics. What's that really mean? Who's correct? That says 40 megapixels, or OP that says 4 megapixels. Looks like the 4 megapixel is per sensor, but they use multiple units per instrument. Each web has about 4 million pixels. Then figure shows them in block table. Low resolution detectors on the far IR. Cheap customer digital cameras are sold by the marketing using high pixel counts, more pixel than possible by the resolution of the lens, the signal noise ratio, and the sensitivity. The JWST is used by experienced scientists, preferring a pixel count aligned to the telescope's resolution at much longer wavelengths than visible light. Digital images without redundant pixels allows the transmission of more images per hour. Okay. So how's it doing it? Does it sort of rotate left, right, going downwards, taking all the images and then stitching it together? How does it do that? Electric motor that sort of changes the angle of the lens. Yeah, I don't know. Wouldn't be doing it with thruster rockets. It would be stationary. It'd be stationary, wouldn't it? Geo-locked. Camera. CMOS technology. That's the point. Are they using the CCD still? Deep infrared chips needed by, so JWST chips. This shows how complicated it is. Don't benefit from some of the improvements in density that consumer chips have. Anyway, JWST is focused on optimizing sensitivity and low noise in the infrared rather than density, from what I saw. Okay, so that explains what Secureteams is about to carry on talking about, claiming it to be a UFO. So just carry on.
Said biosignatures in the atmosphere, on the planet, within a matter of days or even hours. But here's the strange thing. So they had this big public live stream release of all of these gorgeous photographs. But then, I believe it was the next day, NASA also released and did it very quietly, very under the radar. They didn't feature this during the live streams or the video with the other images, but they are also looking at planets within our own solar system with this telescope to learn more about it. And the telescope is able to look at these planets in different visual spectrums, such as infrared, ultraviolet. And so here is that image that was basically just quietly released on the website with not much coverage. Definitely not coverage like the other images. And what we're looking at here is planet Jupiter, taken by the Webb telescope, which, as you guys can see here, it's showing two different shots of planet Jupiter with some of its moons around it, one being Thebe, Europa, Metis, and so we have one of the visual spectrums to the right. And then if you'll notice here on the left image, taken in a separate color spectrum, there is this large, I would describe it as a diamond-shaped structure, you know, almost like a diamond or possibly a square tilted at an angle, just sitting there next to Jupiter. Another thing to note, besides this, before we get to it, is this telescope is able to very quickly detect the ring systems around other planets. You may not know this, but Jupiter has rings around it, similar to Uranus, Neptune, but you know, Saturn, we can see the rings, but it's very hard to visualize the rings around planets like Jupiter. And you can see here, you can actually see the ring going around Jupiter. But my main focus, and apparently NASA appeared to claim in their report of this photo that this large dark object is just a shadow being cast down on Jupiter by the moon Europa, which, if you remember, Europa, which has been at the forefront of mysterious alien-like worlds that have the utmost...
Okay, so that's just information. The whole thing that you just said there. The shadow that they're talking about is actually, if you read the article properly, is actually near the white spot. So if you go back on his image here, Europa. Let's see, does it show it on his? You'd have to zoom in a bit. See this little speck here? A little dark UFO, you would call it. That's actually the shadow from Europa casting down that direction, because you can see the sun's behind. So they're not saying this here is a shadow. Okay, they've not even mentioned that in the articles at all, but other people have noticed it and asking about it. So just take a little search to find the answer. Let's see. I've actually got some links to it, but we just do a fresh search. So JWST black blob, and you can find probably more stuff today since I last looked. Probably I didn't even put Jupiter in, but we'll see what comes up. That's how easy it is to do research. What are the black blobs? Okay, so some of them are planets, some are shadows, and some artifacts, of course. So if you click on that, this looks like a science site. Okay, so there's an image of this diamond shape, which isn't really diamond at all. If you zoom in, you can see what it looks like. Kind of looks like a piece of crap with little flies flying around it. Okay, there's a nice round sphere, so that's obviously a moon. And where are the other ones? There's one there. So there's white dots, circles. Two down the side there, a little one further out. On that particular colour spectrum anyway, there's one at the top there, another moon I think. 1, 2. Let's see what else we got. There's another one. So there's the shadow next to the storm. That's going straight down, making a nice little circle there. So on that particular filter, we're just seeing that one. Can't see any other moons there. UAP is shown as a black circle in the second image. UAP's shadow can be seen near Jupiter's big red spot. There you go. White in the image. Clear as day. So they're not saying the other blob has anything to do with that. However, there's a regular big black blob easily noticeable in the first photograph just below the planet's ring. It can be seen in the second photograph with the same size, rotation, although not so easily noticeable. What is the black blob? Is it a defect? If it's indeed a defect, does it have something to do with the telescope being hit by a micrometeoroid in late May 2022, like as a hole punched in one of the mirrors? So here we go, here's the first answer. The black blob comes from a region of dead pixels. Apparently every camera phone has dead pixels, but they have an algorithm that sort of they mask them out. One of the NRM cam detectors, A1, as someone on Reddit correctly identified, SDCard has a display of flat filled images for a number of segments. So if you're taking multiple overlays, right, then you can combine the images and get rid of the dead pixels. So that's another good reason to take multiple images and combine them. A zoomed in portion of the A1 flat shows a region marked in green with precisely the same shape but rotated clockwise by 90 degrees around the green can be seen Theta dark red region whose outer boundary appears to correspond to the speckles surrounding the blob. So there you go. And here's the image that he's talking about. So dead pixels and then speckles. And of course you can see it goes on a bit. You typically subtract out, otherwise account for calibration frames, flat darks, etc. before doing high quality image processing, which can remove many artifacts. You can't get around bad pixels with the same sort of processing, but you can use a method called different, taking multiple images, that's what I just said, offset by a certain angle of distance so that every region of the interest is converted by good pixels in at least one image. So there you go. So if you know about it, then you can't counteract it. So you don't move an image completely over, you have overlapping where the bad pixels would be in each of the directions. I suppose they might get more dead pixels. A few notes. These flats were taken on the ground before launch, so nothing you see in them is due to exposure to space. So they knew about it before launch, so they had already designed their algorithms to compensate for the bad pixels, right? So why have they released a image that shows bad pixels? Maybe because they're doing planets, I guess, and it doesn't need multiple images. But I guess what they do is that was like the first image to come off, maybe, and they'll probably take several ones that get rid of the dead pixels and then merge it. So yeah, we're gradually learning more and more on this technology side of cameras. It makes perfect sense why that you'd overlay and stitch it together to make a bigger image. That's why they went for the smaller megapixels, that's what they were saying before. So they take more photographs so they can then overlay them and get rid of the errors. So what happens in the future then? Next one will be 20 megapixels, will it? Will they still be using 4? The micrometeorite impact was on mirrors segment C3 and isn't responsible for the blob. I'm not positive as to what the speckles are. Some could be due to cosmic ray events, so radiation, while others could simply be individual bad pixels, as many bad pixels will simply show up individually rather than in the blobs we see. So there could be individual pixels that are bad as well. So yeah, so they might even take more images in that case to make the 150 million pixels. They might have 4 times that amount of images for overlaying to get rid of all the bad pixels. Okay, so we're getting more closer to the truth. Now I wonder why in a multi-billion-dollar project that took decades to finish, they delivered such a crappy camera. We already looked into all that. There's a reason for it. Materials and more accurate overall. If you think that's bad, you should see the flat field image for your cell phone camera. So I'm not sure what firmware, how the cameras work to get rid of dead pixels. I suppose they take so many pixels, they can afford to lose some and break down the image to a final image, right? So there might be more pixels, but the final image has less pixels. So they say it's 20 megapixel, but it's actually 25 megapixels. I guess that might be the way they do it on phones. So you got a block of 4 or more pixels making a dot, right? And it allows for 1 or 2 of those to be bad blocks. I suppose that would be a point where the algorithm can't fix it and you end up with little black dots that you probably don't even notice because they're so small anyway. The so-called speckles, as they're talking about here. So there's the first result there. So it's good to delve into the technical side of things like that so we understand it. Do I need to draw a diagram for people? Because they haven't actually said. So we can paste here. Dead pixels on JWST. How it handles them. So they released the early image basically without doing higher processing with multiple images to get rid of the artifacts. So Secureteam can do an episode on it and call it a UFO. So I did actually do a tweet about it and I found out a lot more information. So this is what I said on Twitter. Secureteam Disinfo agent busted again. And you can see how quickly I found the information. And it was probably available when he did his episode. So, like I think it was 4 days old. So he only just put out his episode, right? So he would have found the same information. But here I got a typo, should be the black blob comes from a region of dead pixels, which is basically cut and paste of the article. So yeah, there you go, dead pixels. That's why the image doesn't look that really great, does it? Looks like spud cam quality again. So there's that image there. Don't look like a diamond alien mothership. And there's a close-up of it that we did on screen earlier. Yeah, it kind of looks like a turd with flies hanging around it, doesn't it? So that should be on third phase of the moon. So scrolling down, dead pixels. Stats wise, the majority of experts on camera wins over conspiracy and disinformation. More replies. Is it going to come up? Indeed, they talk about the small black dots, not the one. So we're talking about that small dot there being the shadow and not the other one. How come it doesn't show the guy's reply? A51S replied, and that was my reply to him. For some reason it's not showing it up. NASA knows about dead pixels even before the launch, and there's a technical document here I found. PDF. Is it going to not load? Here we go. PDF. Looks like it's all the way back at 2004, if that's the date, is it? Can't be, can it? 20 of the 4th. 2017, I'd say. Okay, so you can see here they got talking about the optics and the sensors and how they could deal with black dead pixels. I don't know if you can get any closer than that. I'm talking about noisy pixels, total noise per pixel. So they did all this science on it, way above probably most of our heads. Detect a subsystem. What we got here? Focal plane. Focal plane. Not the best images. Typical NASA. It's like they scanned it on ancient photocopy machine. So they're showing us part of the sensor. So that must be the sensor he's holding in his fingers there. 4 million pixels. Designed to handle infrared. Better than your home security cameras, I guess. And low light. So I wonder if Sony was part of that, because Sony are the best sensors for cameras now. So you can see, yes, you can see that NASA knows what they're doing, and they're not trying to cover up anything, and they knew about all the dead pixels on there, and worked out how they're going to process it. And this goes on and on and on. You can see that's why it took 10 years. A lot of red tape. Yeah, who's this? Are you trolling? Oh, are you serious? .p, what's that mean? Looks like a troll comment there to me. Was that meant to be a hi or emoji or something? Okay, so what else did I post? Space telescope. What's this page here? J official. Alright, so they actually got a, if I can open that up, they actually got a GitHub here talking about an algorithm for correcting dead pixels. I suppose that's run post rather than actually on the telescope. Official algorithms for creating the bad pixel mask. So, what's the technical details code there? Noisy pixels, all that sort of stuff. Low QE, open search, dead search, searching for dead pixels. So they reckon that's what's in like the Macintosh iPhone has really clever firmware even though its camera might be substandard compared to Samsung's and other phones, the firmware is really special to the phone, which, like this here, can correct defects and artifacts and make a more superior image. So what do we got going on here? Looks like you're here to troll. Since we've got no one on at the moment. Again, I say goodbye to you. We don't need you. You can watch though, if you want to. What's that on the screen there? Didn't need to click on that. Okay. You got your limelight, mate. Child mentality and ufology, or people just on the web in general, is it? Anyway, I'll just post that link there to my Twitter post if you want to share it or whatever, and read those web pages. I think we covered most of it now, but we'll carry on with his video. Now we know what's really going on. The truth is what you get on this channel, not bullshit, not lies for money, because I make no money from this. I'm always running in debt on this channel. So, my tweets on Dead Pixels, JWST. Okay, here we go. So we can move on from that one. That one's finished with now. Go back to...
And apparently NASA appeared to claim in their report of this photo that this large dark object is just a shadow being cast down on Jupiter by the moon Europa, which, if you remember, Europa, which has been at the forefront of mysterious alien-like worlds that have the utmost potential of harboring alien life. There have been documentaries made about it. There's a great film called The Europa Report. It's a giant ice-covered planet that has a warm saltwater ocean beneath that could very well harbor alien marine life living under the water. But if you notice in the image here, as NASA implied, you know, this, in my opinion, there's no way it's a shadow because it's not even touching Jupiter. That's plain to see. It doesn't look like Europa. Europa is relatively, you know, pretty round.
That's because you got it all wrong, mate.
If it was a shadow, first of all...
That's not a shadow, because you got it all wrong. Because you didn't read the article properly. You skimmed it and run up this episode really quickly to get in some money.
It's not being reflected on the planet. You could say, well, it's being reflected on some of the gas that surrounds Jupiter, but I don't buy that. When I look at this, this looks like a solid object.
Nor do they, because they didn't say that.
Details, especially, you know, with the wavelength and the graininess of the image.
Fake news.
It's still very sharp with this diamond-like shape, and so I have done many past videos about...
That's really blurry. If you look at the other filters, you can now see the speckles, so that's very blurry.
The various enigmas surrounding Jupiter, the unidentified objects that have been captured surrounding Jupiter as well as Saturn, UFOs within the rings. Jupiter is a very strange planet. It's a gas giant. It has the mass...
Which, again, are artifacts for sure.
Red spot on it, which nobody really knows how that came to form, but nonetheless, this dark...
Jupiter was meant to be another second star for our solar system. That just didn't trigger into a sun. I think you'll find Jupiter as a gas giant, like must be Jupiter second sun. See what comes up. Okay, so what's it say? Jupiter is so huge, our solar system almost had 2 suns. There you go, so that's the first one that came up. Could Jupiter become a star? It may be the biggest planet in our solar system, but it would still need more mass to turn it into a second sun. If we artificially ignited Jupiter into a second, how would you do that though? There's just not enough mass. So that idea's out. But you probably could suck all the gas out of it. You wouldn't have an energy crisis. What is Jupiter made up of? Helium, isn't it? Endless supply of material for. Well, if you get rid of one of the planets, wouldn't it muck up the solar system? If you mined it and made it lighter, less mass. Composition of Jupiter is similar to that of the Sun, mostly hydrogen and helium. There you go. And how many Earths fit into the eye? 10 Earths. Certainly would be enough gas there to fuel the Earth's power needs forever. How many Earths fit into Jupiter? That shows you how big it is. Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system. Jupiter is so big that all the other planets in the solar system could fit inside. More than 1,300 Earths would fit inside Jupiter. So yeah, to use a Earth-size amount of gas from it would hardly make any difference probably. How much would that fuel? I suppose, how far away is fusion power? Far away is fusion power on Earth. I said 2025 once, back in my time. 25 to 2030, I wonder if that's still in the time range. Because they're only talking about 3 years away now. The article was originally published in the Oxford Scientist in 2021 edition. Nuclear fusion is supposed to be always 30 years away. It was, however, that. So that would make it, if it's 2021, that would make it 2050. How close are we to fusion power? How long is fusion energy? There's a huge uncertainty about fusion power will be ready for commercialization. One estimate suggests maybe 20 years, and that was this year. So 2040. So pushed out more. Why fusion power is always 30 years away? Always 30 years away because researchers are attempting to create conditions not found in nature. Yeah, so we ain't going to have any Back to the Future fusion-powered cars anytime soon. Unfortunately.
Dark object, it looks like a structure. It doesn't look like a shadow to me. And in my opinion, it...
To him, he's the expert. He hasn't done any research and he read the article wrong. It looks like a structure. Well, why couldn't it be a huge asteroid too? That's blocking out the infrared. No, it has to be alien craft.
It's suspect and fair game for the UFO research community to take a second look at why did NASA...
Well, I looked at it with open eyes and followed the science. So dead pixels it is, because it's an early, what they call it, flat image, not the processed image.
NASA not show this during their international live stream release on July 12th, and then
because it looks like it was only recently done, and that's the first image to come out without any dead pixel correction.
Quietly release it on their website the next day. And the fact that
quietly release it, well, you wouldn't hear about it now because it's in the papers. It just hadn't made it to the TV news yet, I guess. Was there anything significant about it though? Nothing major that we don't already know, right? If it was something major breaking, then they would have it there. So obviously the black bit wasn't major news because a lot of the news things didn't even pick up on it. Because they're not really researchers, journalists, cut and paste journalists.
That this dark object is near Europa, which even scientists will tell you is probably the #1 candidate in our entire solar system for potential alien life under the surface. You know, the fact this object is near Europa, one of the prime candidates for alien life.
Black Knight satellite, guys. Black Knight satellite. Why need to say that? So alien technologies orbiting the moon because they've got aliens living there.
Makes me have further pause. Could this be some sort of large alien spacecraft parked around Jupiter, right near the ring that's wrapping around?
Fake news. Fake news.
Do you really think it's a shadow? Are you buying NASA's never...
We just proved you wrong, Nate. They didn't say it was a shadow. What an idiot.
For a straight answer to this mystery object, put your comments down below.
Never a straight answer from you, mate. Just a load of noise.
Hello.
Oh, that horrible sound. Okay, so we're getting to moon bases now again. So this will be old recycled crap, no doubt. Sure it is. Two craters next door to each other, is it? Blurry photograph. Not really high definition again. Yeah, it looks like two craters. And he's going to tell us there's an alien building in it or something, is he?
Already reported on it. There are countless websites, and I just briefly want to touch on this and give you guys my opinion. But if you don't know, around 18 or 19 days ago,
James,
what they called a quote mystery rocket smashed into the far
troll
side
or
of
what?
the moon and left two craters. And you're seeing the images here, and you'll see me before and after. And this was according to NASA, that it was a mystery rocket, or one of the empty rocket stages from one of the many space rocket launches sent up into space. We have a lot of debris orbiting Earth, orbiting the moon. Not so much the moon as the Earth, but when looking at the images of past rockets and debris from the moon landings, other satellites that
I don't know how you can see that's debris, but maybe image specialists would know. We know there's lots of heat shields and debris on Mars. that third phase of the moon keeps bringing up with camera artifacts added to it from overexposure or light. Creates these strange shards, which they say is an object when it's not. Looks to like two craters to me. I can't see any rocket booster, but maybe it's inside that crater. But I don't know. I have to do research on that. I'm not sure if that's what he's saying, but he's saying there is debris.
Have hit the moon. Even NASA was quick to agree none of these rocket boosters or debris ever created a mysterious double crater as the one you're seeing here, which appears.
But we're seeing lots of impacts inside impacts on the moon. So, you know, millions of years old. Come on now.
Appears to have some sort of structure within it. And as you see all of these different photographs taken by the LRO, the Lunar Reconnaissance Satellite of...
Which is really old technology, and that's why the images are so bad. We're talking about 1960s technology.
All of the different rocket boosters and...
Well, early 70s and late 60s technology.
Debris from past moon missions that have hit, they all create very similar, distinct, single crater impacts. And what's strange about what hit the moon here is that NASA says it wasn't us, as in it wasn't the USA. It wasn't one of our rocket boosters, although I'm suspect of whether it was a rocket booster or not, because again, that is just what NASA is telling us, and we know for a fact, anything NASA tells you, you
I don't know, it kind of looks like a shadow to me with some rocks in it.
can probably bet the opposite.
Can see something there. So that looks like a shadow. That's a shadow, so that's got to be a shadow. So two craters that have close impact to each other. You can see how the pareidolia looks like a dome when it's actually sunken in. So the sun's coming this way, so that's got to have a high edge to the dip to create a half shadow, right? So yeah, it could be rocks, it could be space debris left behind, who knows.
And so the United States said, well, it looks or appears to be a rocket booster from one of the Chinese moon missions. And strangely, the government higher-ups of China have denied that this is one of their quote-unquote rocket boosters. For now, I'm calling it a UFO, an unidentified...
Of course you are, because you are disinformation.
Identified structure that has hit the moon and created not one crater but two, and at the angle that I have read that this object hit, and they were...
Okay, it kind of looks like new material has been ejected because it's white there. So that could be just normal crater and impact next to it. So it could be a rocket debris.
Tracking it, there was basically no way it should have created two craters like this. So China is denying it. The US is denying it. We don't know what this object...
Well, unless it broke into half and had two impacts, and then it would create two craters. But to me it looks like... I suppose it could be two craters made from one impact. Because it has all that extra debris around it here. These ones here don't have that. So yeah, it could be two bits that impacted.
Was, again, they are saying...
But yeah, I'm no expert on this blurriness. But NASA obviously know what they're looking at.
It was a booster, but I don't see any evidence until I see...
It does kind of look like a booster shape to it though, doesn't it?
concrete proof that these two craters that have never been created before by a falling rocket booster hitting the moon, I will be just as much inclined to believe that this could be an off-world crash or impact of some sort, or possibly some sort of secret black ops military mission to impact or detonate something on the moon. And,
why wouldn't they airbrush it out then? Because you talked about airbrushing, NASA airbrushing, so why did they leave it there? See, this is the problem with these UFO fraud sites. They've always got an explanation for stuff, right, to cover their own asses all the time.
They've simply used the Chinese rocket launch debris as the cover story, much like they have used weather balloons, military flares, satellites, and space debris, and everything else under the sun in attempts to hide the truth of the UFO phenomenon. And this idea that maybe NASA, maybe the US...
is NASA hiding it? It's a lot of people hide there, keeping their mouth shut. So yeah, normally someone leaks out, eventually. But a lot of stuff that's already come out about airbrushing is all hearsay. She was told this and that. What was her name? I reckon they're just pranking her because she was like a greenhorn at that day, and that they were doing image processing, and they got to look for artifacts, from scratches, radiation, and all that sort of stuff before they release it as a high-res photograph to be used in magazines and stuff. And of course they're saying it's airbrushing out UFOs and moon bases and monoliths and all that sort of stuff. I'd say they wouldn't be airbrushing. They wouldn't even be releasing that photograph probably. Why would they need to? When they could simply lose the photograph, say it was that part of it got damaged, Why even keep it archived for the public to find it eventually? All these UFO videos and things that we hear about being confiscated, they seem to disappear pretty good. No airbrushing needed. So why would NASA not do the same procedure if they were covering up? See, this is again problem with UFO channels. Making a narrative.
US government, or it was coordinated, sent something, possibly an explosive, to impact something on the moon. It's not really that far out of the realm of possibility, because this has happened before, where NASA has multiple...
So they knew there was debris that was coming down, so they turned it into a science experiment, right? They put sensors down ready for it to get deorbit and impact, and they can work out where it's going to impact. And then they can get these sensors to measure, like ground penetrating radar, to work out how dense the moon is and all that sort of stuff.
Multiple times purposely impacted the moon and certain parts of the moon, going all the way back to one of the Apollo moon landings, where as we left the moon, we purposely sent a part of the ascent stage, part of the lunar rocket landing equipment flying straight towards the moon with the sole intention of impacting it and seeing what happened. The astronauts had placed seismographs at various points around the moon to pick up the readings, and when this object hit the moon...
And of course they said it rang like a bell, right? Saying that there seemed to be like hollow sections in the moon, which is more impossible because the moon gets lots of impacts and probably has water under the surface even, as well as gases. So who knows what's under the moon? But they know it's got lots of helium-3, is it, that they want to use for fusion power eventually. I reckon they shouldn't mine the moon, though. They need to go moon the asteroids instead. Leave the moon alone. It's only going to be a disaster otherwise.
Moon seismographs that were thousands of miles apart picked up the vibrations for many, many hours after the object hit the moon, and where the famous quote was birthed, which was that, according to the astronauts, the moon, quote, rang like a bell. In other words, it rang like something that was artificial, that had a hollow inner...
No. It didn't say it was artificial. It just had some different cavities underneath like the Earth has.
Hull with this sort of, outer lunar surface simply being a facade to protect.
So he's turning in some factual information and turning it into disinformation. You see what he's doing? He's forming his own narrative and putting in stuff there that's not actually true.
Protect what could very possibly be an artificial satellite posing as the moon. And, that's for another video, and I've done many videos on it.
Yeah, lots of disinformation type videos full of nonsense and mixing facts with lies. And that's all his videos are, deception. And I debunk every single one of them, pretty much, for the last 6 years.
All you have to do is search my channel, go and search the term moon.
And search my channel and you can find all the debunks for it.
Hollow moon, and I've covered this years ago. Very fascinating. So then there was another instance where we purposely detonated or impacted a part of the moon, very noteworthy to bring back up, especially for new viewers, and just to refresh your mind, because I
Detonated? What the hell is he talking about?
love talking about this case, but back in 2012, Obama was president of the United States, and you may remember seeing a lot of interest, especially on my channel and other UFO research outlets, regarding a photograph snapped of a NASA employee sitting at his desk as they tracked this purpose detonation impact, or some would call quote-unquote bombing of the moon, and in that picture under his arm of the exact area.
And that's not. That was a target area for the impact, and nothing to do with what he's saying here. Scott Brando's covered this pretty well on his UFO Interest Twitter page many times. So yeah, it's not a moon base, is what they're claiming.
Area where the moon was to be hit stood what can clearly be seen as what looks like a large three-dimensional square building rising.
Yeah, so probably 2 months ago I covered this again, and I actually looked at all the high-res images there, and yeah, it's just pareidolia where it looks like something's there. But yeah, that's a photograph of the area where the impact was going to happen. And I think there might be a cross on it or something like that, where they expect it to impact.
Rising up from the ground, casting a light and shadow down on the moon's surface, and just happens to be in the exact area that they were.
So there's not actually a square there. We looked into that. So it may have been drawn on there where the impact's likely to be.
Going to nuke, for lack of a better term, the moon. So these photos came out around 2012, but the actual impact occurred in 2009. And it was a legitimate, at least, to the public, according to NASA, a legitimate mission called the LaCrosse mission. LECROSS, where indeed...
That's right, LaCrosse mission.
Indeed, NASA did drop a small nuclear device, although some claim it was just a piece of a spacecraft that they...
It was a spacecraft, yeah. And they're not going to drop nuclear bombs on the moon.
They purposely sent blasting down. However, it was very clear that NASA and the mainstream news headlines clearly stated NASA to bomb the moon. Everyone was out with their telescope.
which is fake news by mainstream media again.
Hoping to catch a sight of a massive white plume that was supposed to rise up many miles high into the atmosphere and could be seen from powerful telescopes here on Earth. And the reason they were nuking the moon to begin with, the point of the Lacrosse mission, was allegedly carried out to seek water in the crater called...
So it was another experiment, of course. Hey, John, how's it going? I will stick around for a bit, okay, if you want. You're the first one to join us that's not a troll. You got a spanner now, so you can have fun getting rid of them. Yeah, I'm not sure where everybody is at the moment. UK. It should be about 10 o'clock in the morning over there, or 11. Oh no, is it? Yeah, in the morning. So maybe Friday they're working, maybe. And America's, you'd think there'd be more people in America around. But yeah, just breaking down all the fake news and disinformation that Secureteam is putting out here again. It's been fun, so I'm not sure how much you've been watching. But he's claiming a UFO in the James Webb telescope images already, which is to do with dead pixels. And they just released an early image without the dead pixel removal process and method they have, which is basically multiple images overlaid, a bit like stitching the moon image, which makes sense. Our cameras automatically do it. They do it by taking a block of pixels and then reducing it down to 1, and it's still like 20 megapixels, right? So they have like special algorithms to handle dead pixels on phones, and this is a special one for picking up faint distant infrared. So yeah, they know there's going to be noisy pixels and dead pixels and radiation and all that sort of stuff. They're sort of not stupid. Insomnia night for me. Okay. 2 AM now. Okay. It's probably why no one's around it on my show. You'd think there'd be a few people that's not working though. Insomnia night for me. Yeah. Yeah, I've sort of been sleeping funny too. I'd fall asleep and then wake up and then start watching some shows and then get back to sleep again. Or I'd have dinner and then fall asleep after dinner, and then I'd be angry that I hadn't done anything all night. So I'd be up to 2 AM doing that, or 3 or 4 AM, then go to bed. So yeah, that's just our life, right? When you're not working, you can do that sort of stuff, but you're obviously working, so you're going to be knackered tomorrow then, if you need to be at reception. This is day 5 of being awake. I'm getting wonky. Yeah, well, you do take a lot of stimulus, don't you? The old green stuff and coffee. I bet you, how much coffee do you drink? I don't know if you take energy drinks like some people. That keeps you going. Well, we didn't even have that back in my days of doing night shift. I was taking some of these little pills, but they tend to make you sick, so you can't do that too often. In fact, it makes your heart race, energy drinks. Last time I had an energy drink, it was a Demons, and my heart rate must have been, even when I was trying to relax, was double the beats. So I can see why school kids shouldn't be drinking it. It does, caffeine and all the other stuff they added in does affect you. Hormone, old age. You're getting old, man. Yeah, hormones. It's probably related to me too, probably. I'm not sure if the doctor even checks that. So yeah, where are we going? Secure team, alien bases, when it's actually just an experiment, just disinformation.
Called KBS. So they were going to blast it and see if they could find ice and water underneath it. That's what the story was. And even President Obama at the time had gone on a late night news show and stated that he would be out there with his friends with telescopes looking for the plume. And when the impact or explosion actually happened, people across the globe were totally let down as they watched in real time, waiting for this plume to appear through the viewfinders of their telescopes and cameras. Instead, they saw total darkness, nothing, in fact. And it was actually a pretty big letdown, which was also covered in the mainstream news. Now, later on...
But you remember that big asteroid that sort of broke up and crashed into Jupiter, was it? Or was it Saturn? I can't remember now. That left some big explosions. Well, asteroid hitting a big planet. It's like a nuclear blast, isn't it? Hydrogen bomb. Leaves no radiation. But how many times has he talked about this stupid experiment and cover up of the photograph? At least 3 times. I have no testosterone at all, and I'm now losing my estrogen. Menopause, yeah. Chronic insomnia. Well, I'm not sure. Whether you can take herbal treatments for that. Might be worth a try. It's bound to be something out there. But yeah, didn't you say if you take hormones and stuff, it can cause cancer? So yeah.
NASA had put out a photograph taken by a satellite, allegedly, where they had increased the exposure and the brightness and the contrast and messed with the image so much to the point where you could see some sort of white blob coming up out of the so-called impact area, which who knows where that came from and what they did to create it to the point where they could say, hey, here is the plume. There was one, we just didn't see it. However, when these photographs came out in 2012 showing a real scientist for NASA by the name of Anthony
This is boring.
Colapret, as he and other NASA employees are watching and waiting for this explosion to occur, he's got this photograph under his elbow, and immediately you can see that not only is this the exact area that they were hitting, but there is a massive...
Well, if there's a massive building there, if it got hit by even space debris, you'd expect a big explosion. And there wasn't one. So what does that tell you? That that square blob is not actually there. There's not actually a building there. So there's more disinformation that he's putting out here.
Giant frigging square building sitting right there. It's being illuminated at the top. Part of it's in...
So again, I did this a few months back, and we looked at high-res images of that same area, and you can see there's some dark and shadow play that actually makes it look like half a square, but not a full square. So yeah, it's probably them just drawing it in of the area they expect the impact to be.
Shadow, it's casting shadow around it, and as you guys look at this photograph, there is no trickery here, there is no disputing, this isn't any sort of glitching, this is not a marker that was placed into the photograph. This was, in my opinion, and pretty much everyone else, a genuine slip-up by NASA as they were...
So again, that's disinformation. Most of us don't believe what Secureteam is saying. We know it's just fake news.
Likely trying to hit what appears to be an alien base of some sort.
I know, it looks like a watch. Maybe a big, massive watch. The aliens had a big watch down there.
Some sort of building. The reason I believe that it was likely alien is because...
So you can see here, this crater here, the shadow play here, actually looks like it's forming a right angle. Which is exactly the same what's happened here. So it's right on the edge of different craters. I think it's just a low-res image. I'm not sure how they created it, whether they drew over it or not, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's not a building there. And there's definitely no debris of a building after a big impact, because we've seen it on images after the fact.
As they were trying to nuke it, and successfully apparently, did so, or at least they tried. But
okay, so if they nuked that, you'd expect this whole region here to be one massive crater, right? You've seen, what is it? Nuclear craters, let's have a look. Nevada nuke craters. Here we go. The Secureteam crater located in Nevada, Area 51 test site was formed on July the 6th, 1962 by a 104 kiloton nuclear explosion. Okay, let's have a look. Google Maps. Let's see what it looks like. And whether they can cover that up. What's this popping up here? We value your privacy, accept our spying. There you go, it looks like one of the craters on the moon. So, how many miles across is that? Does it say? The bomb was intended to test its feasibility. They weren't even sure whether it's going to set the atmosphere on fire. Okay, doesn't say how big it is. Here we go. The cactus test created a 110 meter wide crater. So on the moon, that wouldn't be very big, would it? So have we actually got an image of that one? There we go. We just love debunking Secureteam by looking up the actual facts. So they put a concrete lid on it. So that's on one of the Pacific Islands, wasn't it? You can actually go there and walk on that now. I'm not sure what the background radiation would be. I suppose it would be low now. 20 years, because they're still living in Japan, aren't they, in those cities? So there is the hole before they capped it with concrete. Must have leaked something into the sea though. Atmospheric nuclear tests over the Pacific. There you go. Proving grounds, they call it. Radioactive debris left by explosion dug up 111,000 cubic yards of soil. What did they do with it? Stick it into tins and drop it into the sea for 1,000 years. Well, we probably won't need that long. Had been created 2 decades earlier. Yes, there we go. There's a map of it on the island. I wonder if I can see it on Google Maps actually. Marshall Islands. Looks like a big UFO, doesn't it? There's a UFO landed. I wonder they haven't been making that into fake news. Okay. Google Maps. Let's have a look. You still there, John? Looks like says there's 0 live and then 1 live. I'm not sure why it does that. It's probably the way it polls their stats or something. We have another region thunderstorm outside. We had lots of rain here. Lots of rain. It's finally cleared up, so we're getting some sun finally again. Cold though. Down to like 0 degrees, -1. Icy, taking out the dog for a walk. Which I have to do that at 10:30, which is an hour and a half away. Eaten some ramen. What the hell's that? Sounds like Egyptian food. Ramen the Great. Okay, so here we go. Is that the right location? Yeah, it kind of looks like it. Satellite view. Marshall Islands. There we go. Pretty close to Thailand there then. Doesn't look like a really good place to do experiments, does it? It's not that far away from all of us. So we're going to get a picture of the dome from space. There we go. That can't be, can it? Looks like fields there. That can't be it. Surely. Does look like a dome. But I don't think it's the same one, is it? It's Cactus Dome. This looks like... That can't be it. That's not Marshall Islands. That's... The thing's got a similar name for cactuses. Growing cactuses of all things. It's like a big greenhouse. Oh, okay. Learn something new. So where's Marshall Islands then? I thought that was too close to cities. Here we go. That looks like the concrete dome. In fact, there looks like another blast sign there. There we go, that's looking better. So let's go back out into space. No, why is it not going out? Okay, so that's more out on the whatnots, isn't it? As far as they can get away from countries. So that makes sense. So it looks like some volcanic island. And it's on the outer rim of this thing here. You'd think there would be images, this terrible images. So it looks like little islands scattered around this thing here. Lots of little islands, cactus stones. But you're bound to believe that there would be people living on these little islands out of the middle of nowhere. Well, there's the concrete dome. was a bit different than those early photographs. Looks like the grass and trees are gradually taking it over again. So how come they didn't cap this one? 2 blast zones. Yeah, I don't know. Need more research. This shows that eventually it repairs itself, and the radiation half-life makes it safe again, and things come back and grow. Anyway.
But the proof is in the pudding, the proof is in the photograph. So that's another instance where NASA has targeted something on the moon, this time captured in a legit NASA photo on the desk underneath the...
Okay, so another thing I want to check. Did NASA put nuke? See what it says about that. Because we know Secureteam lies. Okay, so there was a project. The project was never carried out. There you go. Being cancelled after Air Force officials decided its risk outweighed its benefits. So someone actually had sense. Project A119 it's called. Let's just click that open. See, Secureteam could have done all this and brought it and put it into his video, but it goes against his conspiracy theory, also known as a study of lunar research flights. Was a top secret plan developed in 1958. Why is it always America that comes up with these stupid ideas? The aim of the project was to detonate a nuclear bomb on the moon, which would help in answering some of the mysteries in planetary astronomy. If an explosive device detonates on the surface and not in a lunar crater, the flash of explosive light would have been faintly visible to people on Earth with their naked eyes. This was meant as a show of force, resulting in possible boosting of domestic morale and capabilities of the United States. Oh yeah, let's just nuke everything and just brag about it. Project was never carried out, but according to Secureteam, you nuked an alien base. And the existence of the US project was revealed in 2000 by NASA. Okay, so never a straight answer. Well, it looks like they gave a straight answer in 2000 there, Secureteam. After it was declassified, I guess. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union took the lead in the space race. There's actually a series on TV where it's got alternative history. It's quite good. For all mankind, if you've not been watching it, it's more like a soap drama type thing where it has, you know, a lot of sex in it. Also gays, and the uprising into bigotry and all that sort of stuff back in 1950s especially. So yeah, and it also has a woman president that is gay and it's so you can see the pushing the wokeness in that series, but it's actually really good. Go and check it out. At the moment they're landing on Mars on the 3rd season anyway, so but they do actually set up moon bases, which is quite interesting. So maybe that's our future. So it talks about the cancellation of it and just trying to prove to Russia blah 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 nonsense. my dick is bigger than yours scenario.
This employee's arm. And, you know, Secureteam10 was built on my love of lunar anomalies and the discovery of structure.
It was built on a bed of lies and continuously to lies and fake interviews of himself and photoshops, and it was all built to make money to fund his drug addict. Okay.
On the moon. That's what I started the channel doing and making videos about, and still is my favorite topic, which is searching the moon, searching satellite images, and the evidence of alien.
His favorite topic because it's all blurry images and yeah, it's like he used to have like Street Cat 1 finding 2-inch rocks into buildings. And by mucking around and cropping them, and those reflections in the space station images off their window because it's filmed through 4 sheets of glass, and wonder why you get artifacts when they're filming through it that look like UFOs, blobs of light. It's ridiculous, these channels. Can't believe Harry got so many followers, so I'm a bit suspect. How many of those are real people and how many were bought to get his little gold plate? And, you know, just totally foreign and extraterrestrial-like structures scattered across. Okay, so this one looks like it could be an artifact, doesn't it? It looks like an artifact. Oh yeah, that looks so much like a spaceship, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. Looks like there's little black dots everywhere. And there's another strip of missing data there. So this one is little strips of missing data as the satellite passes this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, and gradually builds up out of thousands of images, bit like JWST, as we just found out. Across the lunar surface is undeniable. Again, all one must do is start from the very first video I've posted and work your way up to now and see the evidence for yourself. I have posted on this channel artifacts, 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 and this one here was the big castle, as they called it. Richard Hoagland, ex-NASA shill, is making lots of money selling bullshit like Secureteam. There's actually an experimental camera they're using for instant photographs. They actually leaked and made these artifacts on the images. That's why it looks sort of round. It looks like a blob of water, well, blob of chemicals, liquid. From legitimate Apollo moon landing footage and photographs. So, what's in these ones? So that one there is obviously low res for shadow play. That's his famous L-shaped craft that he used in a fake interview. Area 51 dude. That was his first one on his channel, actually. That one there also turns out to be shadow play and some rocks, because we've got sharper images. This one here with the so-called tube that's meant to be crossing the crater rim, again, is also shadow play, where it's actually part of the outer rim here, where it's sort of crumpled down and it's actually double edge on it. But anyway, we'll just keep on going. To satellite imagery taken from the LRO, or Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. Reconnaissance, by the way, is a military term. Strange that they named it that. And likewise with the Mars because there was a space race. Yes, it would be a military aspect to it. Reconnaissance Orbiter. And we're going to get to Mars here in just a second, because I have some new satellite imagery for you guys of what appears to be another crash, but of a different kind. But yeah, guys, as you're seeing... Okay, so there's pareidolia going there, flipping images so it looks like a dome or a disc in the middle.
In these different images, we have domes on the moon, things that
There
look
we go. But if you rotate it around, it looks like a crater.
like large glass structures in the form of domes.
Glass structures, that's Richard Hoagland nonsense again.
Sitting in craters, reflecting light, obvious.
Okay, you can see that's a sunken crater that's got a lot of white, powdery rock like these ones have on the outside.
Here is another satellite image of a separate square building or structure that was discovered on the lunar surface. And
Okay, so that's missing data, and it forms little squares because it takes pictures in squares.
it's at the very bottom of this satellite image here, and we'll
Yeah,
go
it's
ahead
a bit hard
and
to see
zoom
that
in.
one.
And although it's been admitted by...
Yeah, so there's obviously shadow play there, but it's probably also missing data. And that's where you get the little squares.
former NASA image and
There we
photo
go.
text that they were told, and indeed did, airbrush as many of these structures out as they could.
Well, they didn't do a really good job then, did they, Secureteam? Yeah, they put it in plain sight so you'd find it. That's absolutely nonsense, isn't it? Tyler, indeed. That's terrible, isn't it? I'll just click on that. Is it not coming up now? Why is it not coming up? That's strange. May have rebooted the server. That's the problem of using third-party stuff. So when you click on this, it sends information to his server, then sends it back to me to display it. What's working before? Just my luck. He's obviously working on the server. Anyway, perhaps I'll just zoom in on the other screen. I'll better clear that. Just zoom in what you said there. Oh. There we go. What's this come up with Arnold Schwarzenegger? There we go. Comments. Since my highlighters stopped working for some reason. Just carry on.
They could not get them all, and so you will find square-looking alien bases. You will find monoliths. You will find towers. You will find...
Okay, so that was a normal crater with some artifacts underneath it.
movement.
Missing data.
UFOs and unknown objects hovering above
Same
the surface,
there.
casting shadows down below. The evidence is unending, and the same goes...
Evidence is unending. Disinformation is unending.
with
that's for
planet
sure.
Mars, which is...
Yeah, so we got some artifacts up here too, which is again scratches on the glass plates they used because they didn't suffer from radiation. But when they scanned it in the lab back on Earth, obviously people dropped hairs and all sorts onto the slides, not really paying much attention to what they're doing. But also, some of them got scratched and some of them started degrading.
why we put a reconnaissance orbiter there to...
Also, stuff like this is caused by, bright white blobs ended up being radiation bursts that reacted with the chemicals on the negative. So that explains that one.
completely image the surface and what was on it. And that leads me to the next anomalous discovery in space, which is a satellite image, and that may very well contain a snapshot of a crash site of a UFO, an alien craft, an unknown craft.
Is this going to be rover debris?
That could be one of ours, but, a crash site of some kind. And so you're...
Yeah, it's going to be debris of one of ours for sure.
seeing that satellite image here, and it's hard to see at first. And so the photograph we'll be analyzing here, which is cataloged as
UFO
ESP 074-267-1105, acquired by NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter on May 31st of 2022 this year, which shows what's described and what I'm seeing as a sort of U-shape.
A U-shape. Are you seeing that there, people?
Unknown object measuring approximately or estimated to be 10 meters
A U-shape, okay.
across, and what appears to be this dark, sort of shadowy trail or trench, whatever you want to call it, to the side of the object and connected to it, like something skidded to the surface, or possibly
like a piece of debris and bounced along the surface and rested and finally
landed and created this trail from the heat. And the object itself, this UFO on the surface, looks to be glowing, as you can see.
a glow, and so metal doesn't glow then when the sun hits it, right? Try look at solar farms in Nevada. Of course, that's also going around at the moment as UFOs. Reflection taken into air from an airplane, passenger taking photograph. That's still doing the rounds as well.
See here, it's definitely emanating brighter light than anything surrounding it. And then
yeah, we expect that to, when the sun's shining down, and can see that the sun obviously is shining down, because we can look at the rest of the image up the top here.
Have this dark trail behind it, very similar to other so-called crash sites that I have published and shown you guys here on the channel, also on planet Mars.
Well, those UFOs are always crashing, eh? For a lot of cobblers. If they can hover anywhere, they wouldn't crash, would they? Unless they had total engine failure. So that means that aliens don't have backup systems. So I would doubt it very much. That would be like all 4 engines on a plane turning off and you gliding down to crash into the sea or whatever. It doesn't really happen with our technology. We're aliens, but they crash all the time. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, so here's another artifact, missing data by the looks of it. Which makes these little black squarey things, you know, look. You can see it. This is a square rectangle, and of course we know that these are made up of thousands of images, not just one snapshot. So it does a pass on angles as well as straight lines and other directions, and they just stitch it all together. So why would they be missing data? Well, maybe there was a solar burst at that time. Or they may have lost the data being transmitted back from the thing, because it only had limited memory in these orbiters, right? So they couldn't store all the images like we can on solid state hard drives and then slowly beam it down. They only had like certain memory in it that was hardened to radiation. And also orbiters also used negatives. Early ones took photographs and then they scanned it in and had problems with the scanner. Where it would not be smooth sailing or scanning the image, and of course you end up with artifacts that way too. But you have to look at all the different cameras and technology and the satellites they used over the years. That's why they put up 3 or 4 or 5 of them. They kept sending up more and more to get better results. Oh yeah, that's definitely a UFO crash, mate. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's definitely a cover-up. Why didn't they airbrush it out then? What a lot of cobblers. Right, here we go. There's a rock. There's a rock, man. What's a rover debris? Okay, these ones are little specks, you know, where the rover spun its wheels and it flicked up onto the camera. And it doesn't tell you that it's not on both the stereo images. They had stereo cameras, so they could drive it around and actually see the distances and all that. So this one was meant to be the bird UFO. Oh no, something crashed. Yeah, could it be a meteorite that bounced and rolled along? Come down on a really shallow angle? Or could it just impacted and then rolled along? But this is actually part of unknown, what do you call it, rock forming thing on Mars, I think. Can't remember what it was called now. I looked it up a few streams back. You can actually find lots of these ones here where you can see lots of these circular things coming out all along the long thing. So he's just cherry picked one image here where you only can see one of them.
And so what you're seeing, you know, the close up here.
What we're seeing is Secureteam putting up misinformation.
And the question remains, could this be an alien craft?
Could it be? See the words he's using there? Not that it is. So yeah, it's just he knows it's bullshit. So he's carefully choosing his words here, making a narrative, and those people that watch his channel suck it up.
That went down and, you know, skidded across the surface. What is this dark object with this glow?
Wouldn't it be fun for him and I to get onto a live show together? I'd tear him to bits, wouldn't I? That would be a fun show to watch. Secureteam, not on Fade to Black, but on the Out There channel. That would be fun.
Glowing ring around it, or sort of horseshoe-like glow. Could this be an alien craft that possibly came in from...
I know so much more facts about cameras and science than he ever will. So he would lose every time he would bring up some bullshit like this.
Or a low angle, you know, landing at a certain trajectory and possibly crash.
Oh, look, UFO tried to land, but it can hover. But why would it crash?
or skidded to the surface, leaving this noticeable dark trench or dugout trail left.
Which you get that with rocks that get moisture on it in the desert in America. Is it Arizona? And the wind gusts down the valley and pushes the rocks just a few millimeters every year, and it forms these lines behind them.
Behind it. So tell me what you guys think about that, and if you want to.
So in the case of this one here, they get terrible gusty winds on these planets, so could quite easily push big boulders along slowly, forming trenches.
See some more crazy footage of the stuff I have posted here on the channel regarding
more disinformation and lies.
unknown objects discovered on Mars that look like they have crashed or made an impact. I will link to a video, or you can search it on the channel, which is titled 600-foot UFO crash site discovered on Mars 11/20.
Which is total bullcrap.
2316. So I posted this video in 2016, and I just go totally.
Okay, so this again looks like a bigger splat of crap on the lens of the camera, doesn't it? Yeah. The moving rocks are on LA Playa in Nevada. Oh well, that's close to Arizona, isn't it? Next door. I'm pretty sure they've got similar rocks in Arizona as well. I'm pretty sure I've seen them. But anyway, yeah, thanks for that, John. Is it showing messages yet? No, it's not anymore. That's a damn shame. People just have to read the fine print on the screen. We're almost finished with Secureteam, then we move on to third phase.
Totally wild with.
What a fun night it is so far. How long we got left? I spent quite a long on this one.
Some pretty crazy satellite images of...
because he's putting up a load of crap here.
Obvious craft and sites where it appears that craft have gone down and dug into.
Okay, so is this one with the dead pixel on the images? Because the rover has them as well.
To the soil, from saucers to other things. So if you want to check that video out, you can. But tell me what you think of this discovery on Mars. I'll put the link to it.
Bollocks and bullshit and lies. That's what I think. Yeah, I don't think anyone would be posting that under his video because he'd be deleting them.
Down below. Also, recently, just to note, while we're on the subject of Mars, this photograph has hit the news recently of a strange, stringy-like object that was snapped on the surface, I believe by the rover, and we really...
Okay, so now we got some more rover madness.
We don't know what it is. This is the image. You know, it looks like a piece of string.
Okay, let's see. It's probably really small, isn't it? Looks like something that fell out from his dusting rag or something like that. Don't know. Does look like man-made string, doesn't it? Could it be something that the rover has? Some material where it wipes the screen of the sensors? Some dust and rag? Those are probably really small rocks. So yeah, we'll have to find out what image that is to research it more.
Tangled up, on the other hand.
Now let's see what we can find on that though. Mars, was it? Thread. Here it is. It could be something natural, of course. That could be something to do with crystal formations. Let's have a look. Sewing thread, yeah. Martians, Mars 15 super strong. Yeah, I don't think it's that. Mars. Forget string theory. NASA Mars rover just discovered this. Okay, I suppose this is where he got it from 21 hours ago. Aha, this too. See how quickly I found it. So that's the same one he's got, isn't it? Let's see. Is that the same webpage? Let's scroll back a wee bit. Did he show us the webpage?
This photograph has hit the...
Okay, hit the news, he reckons. NASA. Bizarre object. Okay, and what was the headline of this one? No, looks like it's a different article. Forget string theory. Mars rovers just discovered a tangled object discovered by NASA. July 22nd. So what's the theories on it? Is it tumbleweed, a piece of line, a biscuity, a tangled object? What's this popping up here? Go away. Let's see. Space Watchers leaving some tongue-in-cheek about the quality of Italian dining. But the most plausible explanation is more prosaic. It's most likely the remnants of a component used to lower, here we go, the robot explorer to the Mars. Oh right, the parachutes, I forgot about that. There you go, it's a piece of parachute that slowed the rover's descent. It got torn to shreds on the way down, and it spread all over the miles of the surface. So there you go, the mystery is solved. What's he saying on Secureteam? That it's alien
news
life.
Recently of a strange, stringy-like object that was snapped on the surface, I believe by the rover, and we really don't know what it is. This is the image.
Liar!
You know, it
We
looks
just
like
looked
a
it
piece
up.
of string tangled up, On the other hand, it could be some sort of biological object or fungus or who knows what growing on the surface. NASA would likely tell you it's just one of the many pieces of debris from the rover's landing, and it is true.
Yeah, okay,
he
was a wee bit honest there, but he tried to put it last in the list.
Surface, but you know, it was noteworthy, it was discovered, it was posted online, and you know, it very well may be. But when it comes to Secureteam10 and the evidence I've shown, there are more unknown and unearthly artifacts.
Oh no, not the floating spoon one, which is just a pareidolia effect of shadows and those crumbly rocks they have from hundreds of millions of years of erosion from wind. Yeah, aliens used to use spoons. Yeah, good one. And they hover.
Official objects on Mars than there are space debris from satellites or rover deployments. So some pretty interesting space news today. You know, crash sites on Mars, mysterious dark diamond-shaped objects captured by the James Webb Space Telescope lurking near planet Jupiter. Then we have the mysterious double crater on the moon caused by
2 pieces of debris sliding into the ground. That's one of the theories.
Something with each country denying that it had anything to do with them. So,
well, as if China's going to be honest about a failed rocket that impacted on the moon.
That makes it even stranger. Why not just fess up and claim, hey, it was ours? But the fact that they're all denying it, and the fact
because they're Chinese,
that the object created this double crater, which is basically unheard of, that adds more fuel to the conspiracy and mystery flame. So I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you could leave a like and a comment.
I thought it was disgusting and so boring and long-winded and not one single UFO alien craft on it.
And subscribe. It definitely helps us in the algorithm because
helps them make $1,000 per video. What do you get in this one? 14k likes. So 14,000 zombie users in UK and USA. 150,000 views. $1 per view normally. So that's $151 so far. Pretty bad, but that's with one ad. If you add it by 4 ads, you multiply it by 4, that soon gets it up to that $1,000 level, right? And probably most of his watches are not got ad blocker on, so he gets those ads as money into his bank account. And so does Google, and that's why they won't get rid of him. So there we go. That's Secureteam exposed again. Working for the government, obviously. Who knows? They certainly are protecting him. They suppressed my channel really badly compared to his, because I don't make money for Google. Because no one supports me, because truth doesn't make money. Fantasy and lies makes money. But people don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear science. They don't want to learn new stuff. Alright, so there we go. That's him dusted. Why is it not going back there? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't think there's any more of his to look at. So we'll look at third phase next. I was going to talk about my experience I've been having. But I might just break this up a wee bit. I've been trying to capture evidence of paranormal. Not as good as yours, John. I'm not sure if you're still there. Of the Indian lifting up your bed. But, yeah. I'm not sure what's going on. So, I woke up the other night at about 2:50 AM in the morning. That's the one night, probably one time in the whole month where I went to bed at midnight. Instead of 4 AM or 5 AM, like I usually do. We're extremely tired that night. Everybody in the house was. So it's like we're sapped of energy. So we all went to bed early. And here I am waking at 2:50, and I thought I heard talking near my head, like screaming male voice. So I thought I'd check the camera, because I've got a camera now in the bedroom that's aimed towards the door, not to me exactly, but at the foot of the bed, and to see if it what sound it captured, because it captures audio pretty good once it's above a certain level. So I thought it would catch me snoring probably. But yeah, so I got this FTP program which allows me to transfer files from the internal memory to my PC. And guess what? I'll open it up to show you that it's got 2 hours of missing data on that card, where something strange happened. How many times? This is like the 4th time now this has happened, where the files mysteriously disappear. And the time I woke up was about 2:55, or when I got out of the bed, and look, it starts recording again. So in that 2-hour block of that folder, because it breaks it up into hour chunks, does 3 hours and 4 hours, 5 hours, and so on. I don't show all there, but yeah, that's really strange that it starts recording the minute I start waking up, and that's really strange. You know, you could say once it was like a problem with the memory card, but it's still recording on the same memory card. It hasn't started erasing it. And the nights where things happen, the videos disappear. So yeah. Is it aliens? Is it paranormal? Is it technology error that seems to always happen when you want to go and check out the information? So I've ordered another camera, because I don't trust this one. And that one, the new camera, will be able to record to my MVR, which is in another room. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I thought that was well worth documenting. I was going to actually look through some of the other videos, but I haven't had time. I have actually... What's interesting is the lights never come on while I've been sleeping in the room. You know, it used to come on early in the morning, between 9 and 11, and I'm still sleeping, and the lights never ever come on while I've been in the room, which is really strange. Because I was sleeping in the other bedroom, right? So, yeah, so people were saying, oh, it's just a faulty light capacitor. Remember, it started playing up a year ago, and then it started working again, and no problems at all. And now it started going wrong again. But only when I'm not in the room. And of course it happened once as well after I left the room. So I woke up early and actually went to have a cup of tea in the kitchen to come back to find the light on, which was 11 AM. So, you know, paranormal doesn't just happen at night time. It happens any time of the day, really. So yeah, so I got those. I was showing you past videos of it going on, but I've got a few more to work through there, and I was going to see if there's any odd sounds like that orb one we got, where you hear something go bang, and then you see this orb come from the ground and head upwards to the ceiling on a curvy angle, which is kind of strange. And then I was mucking around with another camera aimed at the door, because I was trying to capture where I've seen the tall whites appear. A lot of strange stuff has been happening in my house since I've been in this ufology stuff, and talking to various people that claim to be contactees as well as researchers. Now I've got all this activity happening. So yeah, bigger picture maybe. So why don't they go and haunt Mick West and see if you can change his worldview on science only and aliens and ghosts don't exist. Because he needs a shake up, that dude. So yeah, I was gonna go and work through that orb video to enhance it at some stage, but yeah, I just haven't got around to it. And also do some reviews of some of those documentaries, so I've still yet to do that. But there's plenty of other stuff meantime to cover, as you're saying. So I thought I'd show you that latest evidence here of missing files on the SD card. You could say I'm deleting them, of course, but why would I? You know, why would I lie about it? I'm trying to find answers to it. So yeah, you know, all these lights coming on. You know, why would I fake that? That's just absolutely crazy. Of course, everything can be faked, but there's no point to it. It's not like I've got a huge millions of followers. So yeah, Third Phase put out some garbage again, so let's just go over that one and wrap up for the night. We've got half an hour as also. Looks like they could put out something new. Massive UFO just fell out of the sky. You know, all the clickbait titles here. So, just kick this off. And let's just work through it, just skim through that. Yeah, so we got this blob of light going downwards. It's moving too fast to be a moon or a sun. You can see the sun setting though, so that could be part of the answer. So we know the sun's over here, low on the horizon. And suddenly this appears here, so the sun's over here. So what could it be? Anyone? Anyone on the side want to guess? And I'll let you know if you're correct. So what's red in the sky gradually comes down. You should be able to have a list of things in your head already. And now they're going to talk garbage about it. So let's make a list. And I'll tell you what I think it is. First one would be military flares slowly coming down. Does it look like military flares with smoke around it? It sort of does. So that's a possibility. But they mucked around with probably the colours here. And that doesn't look legit to what we were seeing before. What else could it be? Could it be skydivers over a stadium? But they're all close together there. What else? Space debris coming down. Looks like it's going too slow to be space debris. So I'd rule that out straight away. But I think this could be, because the sun's low on the horizon, that it's reflecting off something really shiny that's coming down. And what's in the sky that comes down? Aeroplanes. I reckon this is reflecting off a aeroplane that's coming to land. So let's just go through and listen to their garbage for a laugh.
Let's roll the second angle of the phenomenon. Something lit the sky up. It came down from the heavens. What the heck is going on here?
You can see some parallax because in the car filming it, so it looks like it was going faster than it really was. Okay, you see here it's not so artifacty with the outside red and all that sort of business. And you can see here it does look a wee bit deformed. Let's see if we can see a shape happening. Does that look like an airplane? It could be off the wing and tail. It's forming a odd shape there, isn't it? Can we see any flashing lights or landing lights? Probably not. It's all part of the same light source, probably, all blended in. That's how the camera sees it. I'm just going to turn that down a bit. Seemed to come down pretty close, fast then, at the end there, which is very similar to the angle a plane would come.
Some people might speculate that this is CGI or some kind of massive hoax.
Did I say anything about that being CGI at all today? No. I think it is legit footage. But we can't rule out CGI, of course, because it's on third phase.
In my opinion, what we're looking at is something celestial in nature, but...
No, I never said it was going to be meteorites. It's too slow to be that.
And the way it descends down, it really has a slow descent in speed. So what?
Which could be pyrotechnics from parachutes, flares as well, out to sea maybe, like the LA one. But yeah, I still think it possibly, because of the angle it's coming in there, kind of represents like a plane coming down, and of course it's not really round shape. It's sort of got a diamond type shape, which a plane would have, depending on the angle.
The heck could it be? It's not space junk or some kind of meteorite falling out of the sky.
But he said it was celestial just before, so what is it?
It's actually seems to be controlled in its descent. Right? What's your thoughts here? Yeah,
Oh, it's going to be the best one I've seen in years, mate. That's what he says every time.
Pretty cool. We got two angles cooperating what we're looking at here. And it's pretty cool. We got the sun setting this perfect atmosphere to capture this phenomenon.
To capture light effects, because the sun's glare and the angle.
This is pretty wild stuff right here. It's
Look at this car here. Look how distorted and bright that is. That looks like a landed UFO there. When they're talking about that.
Really cool too when people are driving and they're just looking up in the sky.
Two UFOs coming right at you.
It looks like a beautiful sunset or a sunrise. I'm kind of guessing towards dusk here, but they notice something. They pull.
You can see the street lamps here too.
Their camera.
Look how blurfo it is though. Typical UFO video. It's never ever high res, is it?
We're out to capture this window of opportunity of something in the sky.
Yeah, anything that's blurry, out of focus, like a plane that's got light, sun reflecting off it, it's going to look like that.
Bright red in hue. The color is very luminescent. Again, I'm trying to figure out what this is, guys.
Yeah, it looks like a plane to me.
We're doing this in this live premiere. If you could leave us,
look, that's the wings and the tail.
Your comments, it really helps the algorithm because we're looking for the answers, and right now we don't have any for you. All we could say, this is pretty good stuff. Give us a big thumbs up.
Give you a big thumb up your bum. Hey, there you go. Which I found was quite funny that Goofon played it today. So I thought, oh, will he get it? Will he actually pin it? And let's play what he said about it and have a laugh.
Wait a minute, this is weird.
Okay, so this guy
hoax
claims to be truthology for ufology, and it's just another disinformation agent. Exactly the same as Tyler, and he talks about them ruining ufology when it's people like him and all the rest that are ruining it.
Play a video now, and it is from Third Phase of Moon. Yeah, that's right.
Of course it is.
I haven't seen
the shills that you promote and defend
this video yet. It popped up last night, and I was out like a light.
Oh, you poor thing.
So let's take a look, see what this one is. And then we'll talk about the FBI. For a minute.
Go on, get it going, man. He's got to play the music. Right, you didn't skip it last time.
Welcome back to Third Phase Moon. Blake Cousins, we got a
He's got it really loud too.
special report for you. We're on the road and we're discussing the phenomenon in regards to what people know what's going on above our skies. And we've got a lot of incredible videos for you.
Yeah, they've got so many videos coming in that they can't have time to put them all up. Load of bollocks.
Yeah, we've got Dark Hour Paranormal.
Dark Hour Paranormal, another shield they've managed to train up.
Chiming in on a few of them. And we've got some incredible new ones just in via Jaime Maussan.
Big total balloon shield.
Something fell out of the sky that can't be explained.
No, it didn't fall out in the sky.
Breaking news, take a look at this, guys.
All those dramatic words and hype and clickbait. So what's Goofon going to say? It is, come on people, what do you think he's going to say? What's his usual response? I don't know. CGI, balloons, flares. What's he going to say? Come on. You're not saying anything yet. It only took me a few seconds to give you ideas what it could be.
Now let's roll the second angle of the phenomenon. Something lit the sky up. It came down from the heaven.
Did that light up the sky, people? No, it's just glowing with the sun reflecting off it.
What the heck is going on here?
And this is where you should use all the apps, of course, just to eliminate satellites flaring up, or planes and all that sort of stuff. And that probably would be on the plane finder. Now, he could say the sun's setting, that's reflecting off some ice crystals and creating what's known as a sun dog. But why would it be going down so fast? So that would rule it out straight away in my book.
Some people might speculate that this is CGI or some kind of massive hoax. In my opinion, what we're looking at is something celestial in nature, but in the way it descends down, it really has a slow descent in speed. So what the heck could it be? It's not space junk or some kind of meteorite falling out of the sky. It's actually seems to be controlled in its descent. Right? What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We got two angles corroborating what we're looking at here. And it's pretty cool. We got the sun setting this perfect atmosphere to capture.
There's the clues, right? That's how I look at the whole thing. I look at the whole scene, looking for clues to what it could be. Not just look at the object. And that's where a lot of the frauds crop and enhance just the UFO, and you lose all the evidence outside it.
Through this phenomenon. This is pretty wild stuff right here.
It's really cool too when people are driving and they're just looking up in the sky. It looks like a beautiful sunset or a sunrise. I'm kind of guessing towards dusk here, but they notice something. They pull their camera out to capture this window of opportunity of something in the sky, bright red.
Goofon's still not said anything about it.
Again,
come on, Goofon, what is it?
Guys, we're doing this in this live premiere. If you could leave us your comments, it really helps the algorithm because we're looking for the answers. And right now,
it really helps you money in their pockets.
We don't have any for you. All we could say, this is pretty good stuff. Give us a big thumbs up. Now,
I can't for the life of me figure out what this thing is.
There you go. I don't know answer. That's why people, what is it, 1,000 people watching, opposed to the handful that watch me. 112 liked it. What is its knowledge here? Almost, how many views is it? 662. It's dropping a wee bit. Is he losing people finally? It's about time it happened.
Hey, what could this be? Hey, look how big that is.
Well, watch the Out There channel. He tells you.
Does anybody have any ideas? That's either... I don't know. I don't know. Space debris?
Nah, see? He hasn't got a clue. He's just guessing. We ruled out space debris because it's moving too slow.
You see that? Oh, it looks like space debris. Oh, what was that? It just came in.
No, the angle's not right for space debris. You know, it's, for it to be like a slow moving across the sky, it has to be like a different angle.
Out of the sky. Watch.
So that's too sharp.
I'm a little... Wait a minute. This is weird. Right around here, right? There.
It's weird, guys.
It's
it's weird.
Appears.
It just appears. So there's another clue which I didn't pick up. The plane turns at the right angle to the sun and then illuminates. But again, it could be parachute flares lighting up or pyrotechnic skydivers. There's another possibility. I can't rule those two out entirely because the video doesn't give us enough quality.
And then it's falls.
But the angle that suddenly comes down with all those pyrotechnics landing and the parachute flares doesn't sort of line up. It's got to be a plane.
Downward this way? That's space debris then.
No.
That's unbelievable. You know, I don't think that's a sundog at all. No. Although I like that it could be, but usually there's clouds that create that.
Ice
right?
crystals.
They're like some sort of haziness or some sort of high, very thin cirrus clouds. But here it is.
Is he going to give us an
I don't
answer?
know if that's a sundog. I've never seen one look like that, but I guess it is possible. No answer. This is really weird. I know, right? They usually do have trailers, yeah.
Trailer parks.
It is a red laser. I always said, you know what our sky is?
Someone's shot at a red laser and they're bringing it down on an angle. Right.
Our sky. You guys know about what I saw that one night. One day at 11:40.
Oh yeah, so they're going to keep repeating the same story. I've heard this like 3 times now, but we'll listen to it anyway.
45 in the morning. I go outside and I look up and I see something in the sky like put into position, and it was grid lines, longitude and latitude lines. And as soon as I saw it, I looked in all directions. It was everywhere. I called for my wife.
That sounds like jets with contrails passing by each other. But I must admit, my laser pointer, which is a low watt because we're not allowed 5 watt ones here, actually has a prism on it which splits it up into a grid. It makes these little squares. You can rotate the thing around and make the squares any size you wanted to. So if you shined it up towards a low cloud, it would form the grid on the cloud cover. So I think maybe that's what he's watching back in the early days there, because they used them for ghost hunting, remember? Laser grids, see if the beams get cut.
I said, you got to come out here right now and look up in the sky. Tell me what you see. She came out immediately. She was right there. She looks up. She goes, oh, I see a bunch of lines in the sky. And I go, thank God. And I got my camera. I was turning it on. And it takes 5 seconds or so. And as I'm zooming in, it's already faded out. And I always say the sky...
Which contrails they will, if it's like short contrails and jets passing by each other. Because I know I've seen grids in the sky made of contrails. They can disperse quite quickly. Let's have a look. You'd think you'd know the difference though, but he's goof on. Grids. Font's too small. Grids. Pattern. Plane. Contrails. Well, I'll probably have to put chemtrails in because someone will take a picture of it probably. Crossing contrails. NASA Earth. So let's see what images come up. There we go, but it's not actually a grid. I've seen perfect grids in the sky made of contrails on images before. Now there's one there, it looks like a grid happening. That's not the best ones I've seen. But yeah, probably have to put chemtrails in probably. Because conspiracy sites will have better images than NASA. Okay, we've got the same ones coming up. Yeah, looks like I'm not going to find it. It just shows your planes all coming from the airport, right? How they can have contrails so close together. It's mostly water vapor with fumes. This one that's got kind of square patterns. Look, there's one above. So it's forming these big blocks in the sky. Look at that one. Geoengineering chemtrails. There you go. I know you would get something. So there you go. So it could be that he saw. Just happened to have the right crystal atmosphere with multiple jets at different heights passing by in different directions. That's quite a good one. This one creating V-shapes. That's pretty good. And that's I've seen other ones better than that though. UK I think has got similar ones to this, but better. I've seen the images before, but we'll just keep on going. I'll listen to his story about it.
Seems to be like an overhead projector. Even though everything's real, what I saw that day was bizarre, and my wife saw it.
Yeah.
And from what I
Let's, what I remember, let's check out that laser grid thing I was talking about. Laser grid. Looks like I'm going to have to readjust myself here. I slid off the bed. Laser grid. Let's see what comes up. There you go. So it makes these little dots and you can expand it. That forms more squares like this. Let's see what else we get. There's one there. Closer to it. So you can keep expanding it and it makes this grid. That's really cool. You get yourself a laser pen. There you go. And you can expand it so it's like that. A laser pen. Laser. There you go. Security grid. Yeah, you see it in ghost hunting. It shows. I wonder if they got any there from a ghost hunting show. So if you aimed it at the cloud there, you could get the same effect, couldn't you? So here you go, they're using it in the rim here to make lots of little dots rather than a grid. So they want to see if any of the little lights flicker where the light's being blocked by a shadow man. So these are all similar things you can get on that create circle ones. Circle grids, there's no one. Spirit tested. So there's one using various patterns. So yeah, it's very popular for ghost hunting. Sometimes I use it when I think there's something in the room and I just shine it around, see if it reflects off anything. But I haven't used it in a while. But anyway, back to the story. So it could be contrails that he saw, or laser pen. So did you debunk
I've learned
it?
over the years, many people have seen similar things. So what if this is like a laser pointer? Just, you know,
Like,
somebody's got a huge laser pointer the size of, I don't know, Twin Towers.
actually a 5-watt
Pointing it at
one.
the sky. I mean, if we're living in a Matrix reality, what the...
My mate had a 5-watt one, which is illegal now, but he shone it up onto a cloud, and it made this whole cloud green. And it was quite amazing. I was there when he played around with it at a party, and it just lit up the whole cloud because it had low cloud cover. So anyone driving by would think, what the hell's that, you see?
What the frig is that thing? That's what I don't understand. I don't know what this could be. It just shows up out of nowhere. Right, watch there. Boom.
Plane reflecting.
And then so it's coming in this way, I think.
Yeah.
And then it appears.
I bet there's the airport there. But we don't know the location or anything, so we can't look it up.
Still going downward. It's huge. Anyway,
How are we doing
I
for
got a little
time?
excited, I think, over that.
I've got to go
I
soon.
liked it.
But it's been fun.
And then Michael did an old.
Although there's not many
like
people
here.
around. I'm not even sure John's just awake still.
What is this, chemtrails? Let's see what this is.
John may have gone to sleep.
This is really odd.
Oh, there we go. We just saw some images of contrails like this, and there's no mystery whatsoever coming from an airport. And those can linger for 15-20 minutes before they break up. You can see they're breaking up already in places.
All these planes are following the same path.
Oh no, flight path. How dare them. But they're at different altitudes as well. So they could fly 4 planes together. Shogun Unlimited. United. How's it going? I didn't know you were here in the first place. I don't think my highlighter's working still. Let's just go and check it. No, looks like the guy did something to the server, so it's lost it. I wonder if I can reload it. Here it goes, stuffing up things. If I reload that though, I think it might change the code. Yeah. It won't work. All good. Yes, I'm here. So, how much did you watch in the last half an hour? You missed all the Secureteam debunk. 5. What? What do you mean? 5. The 5th person to join? Maybe. Yeah, it could be something like that. I was alone for the first 40 minutes at least. Right. Yeah, most people watch it later. A couple hundred people watch it. You know, but because so little join my side chats, people like Goofon like to take the piss, saying, oh, he's the forgotten channel, no one watches him. But it's not true. He gets like 600, 700 people watching, and he's got 8,000 now. Sub to him. I only still got 2,000, and Google keeps subtracting from it all the time, trying to make me leave, I guess, and get demonetized or not demonetized, but demonetized, moralized, and leave, which I basically have because I've gone to BitChute and other alternatives anyway. Because I was ready for Google to change so they don't have creators on it anymore, because everybody was talking about them going on to turning YouTube into a TV network, which is still on the cards, you know, like online streaming. Another Netflix, basically. But anyway, there's no mystery to this contrail. It's very good to capture it, though. It's really rare to see contrails. You have to have the right crystals and temperature layers for it. But it normally happens at 26,000 feet, all the way to 38,000 feet. So that's probably 26,000 feet, 30,000 feet. Even though it's low on the horizon, these are really up there. That's probably 36,000 feet and 38,000 feet, or 40,000 feet. Planes can go up to 52,000 feet, I think it is now. So, and of course, the higher they get up, the air's thinner, isn't it? And less friction. So they get better mileage out of it. Without losing too much lift. There's a lot of science to the aircraft as well.
They're not on the
Oh
radar.
yeah, wow, this is cool. Tic tac. Tic tac.
You can see this really whirly pattern that happens. Now we saw that with the fake CERN picture that Tyler was putting up, saying it was made by CERN, when it was actually in UK, and the plane did a turn, and you could see how it turned, and it was making the same pattern. So here again, this just debunks Secureteam, claiming it to be a mystery of CERN when it wasn't. It's just a mystery of plane contrails.
Look at this.
11 AM. Yeah, there should be more people around
What
there.
that plane is doing, it's recording.
Hang on, I'm just gonna sit
There's
up.
no
Okay.
trails, then it's just recording the trail.
For some
Things are
reason,
flight
it
radar.
slipped.
Any more coming?
Wow, that's bizarre.
Like, I've never seen anything like this.
This particular sighting interests me, as we
Oh
can
no,
readily
not Dark
see how
Hour.
fast this object is zipping along.
Not
Another
that
The
shield.
trajectory seems smooth and calculated, unaffected by atmospheric disturbances. Curious
an
to see it
airplane.
flying through or close
Correct.
to a handful of contrails,
Even
perhaps
Goofon
measuring
says
what we
it's an
put into
airplane.
the atmosphere, regardless of whether it is us behind the pilot seat or something otherworldly. The camera person's reaction seems genuine.
Always plug in. You can see the words they're using. It's just so much shill. Ain't funny.
And confused, as one would expect someone to express when witnessing.
Now those you can't see those planes because they're only going to be like a few pixels. You know, the contrail's quite big.
Something they cannot explain. He mentions nothing is on the flight radar, so perhaps we can rule out some sort of conventional aircraft.
Dark Hour.
Or
Nothing on the flight radar. So they're probably military planes that haven't got the call signs on, but they're in communication with the radar tower. It's that simple, you know.
we have certain degaussing or cloaking techniques.
In fact, that could even be like a group of military jets. And it's hard to know if that's vertically higher or it's just optical illusion that they're all at the same height but distance apart. It kind of does look like, now I look at that, it looks like they might all be flying at the same height, but looks like a sort of display, doesn't it? Those two lines there seeing the same distance of these two lines here, and it looks like a single plane down the middle here. So 4 fighter jets and maybe something special down the middle for air show.
Technology implemented for select vessels exclusively, while the general public is not briefed on such phenomenon.
You see, I wish that would be true, but you have to think
Common sense and
a
logic.
little differently, because if there was an object that was hiding in these trails,
Yeah. hide and
It would
it's a
only
few
be hidden
pixels
from
big.
the people at the perfect angle. You know, so the 98% of the rest of the people in the area are going to see it. That's why I never bought into UFOs are hiding in the chemtrails. Clouds? Maybe. I could see them hiding in chemtrails, but they're not.
So he's wrong there. Cloaking would be 360 degrees. He doesn't know. He's assuming it's going to be cloaked on one side. Look at that face there. Only your mother could love it. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for him. We'll just move on. In fact, looks like he moves on anyway. He only shows a couple from third phase. But he doesn't have a clue off this one here that we're looking at, which I said is a reflection off a plane landing.
Now we asked Dark Hour Paranormal, Michael Roser, to go over some incredible videos in Third Phase's Moon archive. So
highly
watch this,
credible.
coming out of
So
the
this
Third
is
Phase
all
UFO report channel.
So this is the only
What
new one.
significance do these
So all these are now repeats, right?
we're witnessing?
Which I've probably debunked already, so here we go. Here's the first one, which is part of the shield of the rover that come down the debris. And the funny shape is because of the camera is CCD, and that's what you call vertical smearing, where the light bleeds in across the photocells of the sensor, creates this funny shard. But it's actually just, when you look at other images, is this a piece of, like a shield. And the sun's at the right angle there. But you won't get the truth from these guys. They like writing up this big story and they tell it to you. And it's just their narrative to keep the suckers coming. So, what are they going to say? Anything? Because we got to go.
All right, so definitely this deserves our opinions.
Their opinions, but not analysis. Not like the research I did on it to find out what it really was. Mysterious light.
Because this mysterious light, whatever it is, seems to have landed and skidded into its position. And
yeah, heat shield did land and skid along, but it's not. That's not the real shape of it.
Looking at its glory, the full frame captured by the opportunity, and this is amazing quality that we're looking at. And in my opinion, this is
not really that amazing. It suffers from artifacts still.
Not lens refraction of light.
No, it's not lens refraction, but lens smearing. It's another artifact type.
This is something there. You could see that there is indication of some kind of debris. That
correct, there is debris, but that's not the shape of it. That's just an artifact of the light.
It was brought up. Whatever this object was seems to have been the reason behind this skidding across the surface of the red planet.
Aren't you glad that someone actually researches all this and knows the real answers to all this garbage that they keep putting out? That's why everybody should be watching me.
On our near celestial bodies, it's interesting when one stands out amongst the plethora we are aware of. Without a real reference point, it's difficult to discern exactly how large this object
Okay, so we got object, let's keep
object is, but I think we can certainly agree it's there within the environment. Perhaps the reflective property is a starring effect from the lens, as the light source stays the same within the four images, and yet we see something slightly different in each photo. I would be very curious to know if this object is still there and visible, but it
And what object are they talking about? They're talking about the stuff on the surface still. Let's just go back a bit. Can't see any objects apart from that.
How large this object is, but I think we can
They're not talking about the red spot, are they?
certainly agree it's there within the environment. Perhaps the reflective property is a starring effect
Well, I don't know. I didn't see
embedded
anything.
in our history. Let's move on to
Can't see anything there, so they must be talking about the artifact again on the surface. Alright, so next one. I think we've seen this one before. Looks familiar. Really old one too. Ooh, what is it? What is it, guys? What's that? It's either CGI. Let's keep watching it. Does look like one of those pyramid type balloons you get in Mexico. Looks like it's rotating, but it could be CGI. I wonder if we could find a pyramid hot air balloon. But it could be a Chinese lantern, because we do get ones shaped like that too. Let's see what we can find. Hot air balloon. Pyramids. Let's have a look. See what comes up. I know I've seen it before. So, hot air balloons flying over pyramids. No. Oh, here's one that's similar. Could it be that one? Or very similar to that one. Let's just go back and have a look. Kind of does have the same shape, low peak on it. So it does look like it could be that one. It's got a low peak. So that's a good possibility there. And we also get RC balloons as well. Hot air balloons, believe it or not. Any more? I have seen more pyramid shaped ones in photos, but it's not coming up. Balloons with pyramids. It's not what I said, Google. Yeah. I could spend a lot of time finding it, I suppose, but we found one that's a close match anyway. What's the other thing I said? See, balloon, what's the other thing? Chinese lantern. Okay, let's find Chinese lantern. See if there's any pyramid shaped ones. Obviously it's not UFO, is it? Alright, there you go. There you go. That sort of has a similar shape to it as well, doesn't it? It's a close match. It's showing us all sorts of other types of Chinese lanterns. But here you go. Could be one of these type ones. You do get them different shapes, of course. Even heart shapes, as we found out. Look how big this one is. That's a man. Look how huge that one is that he's lifting up. So it could be something like that. So let's go back to the video. To me, it looks though it could be a hot air balloon that's up here, and the sun is shining down, and that's actually a shadow on the cloud of the hot air balloon. Because look how whispery it looks. But I can't rule out CGI, of course. Looks like it's going into the cloud, is it? Or is it just simply the shadow is not reflecting? Yeah, it still could be CGI though. Would be easy to do that with CGI. CGI would be easy to do that. And now it's disappeared, which is kind of strange, but it looks like it's still there.
So then,
so yeah, it's a bit hard to know if it's CGI or just simply a hot air balloon that's shining downwards.
Analysis on this video is that it's legit, and whatever
analysis is legit. I'm not sure how they can say that's legit.
was captured in Medellin, Colombia.
Why did the guy move around and not just keep a clear view on it before?
Earlier this year seems to be an incredible capture. We received this video today and we looked at it very closely, and whatever this pyramid-shaped object is, it's there and it's in the skies. This isn't no pyramid-shaped kind of thing that you would see by our military with their, you know.
See, that looks like a CGI era, masking era there, where it disappears when it gets near that cable.
Bokeh lens effect. There's no bokeh lens effect happening here. This is...
So, yeah, that's my opinion on that one. Just garbage. CGI or hot air balloon shadow is my guess. Okay,
stands to reason based on pattern that we will continue to see these shapes. There are some who claim to be able to see fourth-dimensional objects overlaid in the third dimension, and to that end...
Okay, so they're talking about science here. They have no clue what they're talking about, so they're obviously taking something they read somewhere and just repeating it. We've debunked that one already. I think it's time to wrap up, guys. For another show.
This is good contrast right here.
Yeah, they mucked around with it. Alright, I just saw object then. Plane, I think it was.
Contrails, whatever you call it. But then usually you see UFOs.
Well, there's a plane.
Accompanying to this phenomenon.
It's on the same flight path. So yeah, it's actually on the same flight path.
You see UFOs in these contrails. In the stacking of contrails, it's really cool because we get perspective of this thing.
So yeah, it just still looks like it could be coming from the airport. Anyway, that's it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that and learnt something new. And we looked at a lot of stuff tonight and looked at the science of the sensor of James Webb. So you might have to go back and watch it. So that's Thirdphases and Secureteam done for another week. Garbage in, garbage out. Alright, so have they improved this yet? Or have they ignored me? No, still ignored me using script and goes in the same thing. So when you go back you lose your place. Good stuff. Let's just check it out. Page 5. Click. Go back. Does it stay on page 5 or does it go back to page 1 again? See, that's just so stupid design. That's not funny, is it? But anyway, they haven't listened to me. Hopeless, incompetent people that MUFON hires. Anyway, I'm getting more people watching now. Unfortunately, I'm closing down. Perhaps I should do a midnight to 3 p.m. one, 3 a.m. one, I mean, New Zealand time next time. So, yeah, I guess a lot of these people are from UK though. Well, guys, let it compress, and then it'll play without any glitches. And then you know when it's Google's finished mucking around with it, the side chat will disappear, and then it'll come back once I finish processing it, and then it'll play smoothly after that. John Parks, what do you think the Tic Tac really is? Well, it's hard to say. Could be a UFO, it could be a drone. Apart from that, there's not really many other options it could be. Unless someone's lying, of course. The pilots are lying. For what? I don't know. Maybe they're getting paid to be disinformation agents. Have the Russians guessing and the Chinese guessing. But now the Chinese are saying it was them. With undersea drone technology that goes at hypersonic speed. So I don't know what's true anymore. Shogun, I'll see you again soon. I'll be back and watch all. Enjoy your day. Well, evening. I've got to walk the dog now. It's freezing cold outside. Okay, guys. Thanks for joining us at the last minute anyway. At least it's good to have some people watching and chatting on the side again. It gets a bit lonely otherwise. It's good to have interaction and other people chipping what they think we're looking at. But I think my solutions are the correct ones for tonight. So, yeah, take care on the roads, and I'll see you again in the future. And I will get some time to look at those ghost videos and see if I can find anything in my evidence.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we got a subscriber. Welcome to the Out There channel of Real Truth. So, yeah, like I said, I talked about the latest thing that happened, and Foal's missing off the SD card again. So, I don't know if the Chinese are hacking it, or the aliens are, or Paranormal are, but something really odd's going on around me lately. So yeah, skeptic debunker with his own experiences. How about that? Okay, take care everybody, and I'll see you again. Hopefully more positive stuff rather than debunking insights. I suppose that's really loud, is it? There we go, turn it down a bit. Keep uploading, I'll keep watching. Okay, night. I want to catch some real evidence and show you some of the best evidence I capture. Sky watching will happen eventually once I get a new cable because I got the wrong one. So hopefully that will be in a week or so away. But the weather outside is crap at the moment, so... But I want to do some daytime sky watching. That's where you get the best stuff. And that 20 times optical camera, the big one, is a lot better than the mini ones that you can buy for home security because you can zoom in on planes in the sky. Oh, I better click end on that. Yeah, it's a shame I lost my highlighter. I'm not sure what the guy did there, but he must have rebooted the server. There we go.